Between you, Scott, and him.
No kidding. And that's the only reason I was like, there's no way I can call him. No way. No way I can call him. I just got to suck it up. Can you turn the light on, please?
Turn it up.
Turn it on, yeah. Thank you. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing. For those subscribing on YouTube, it's the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. Chris Burdick producing the broadcast. His final show of the week. Chris taking some time off. Our new producer, Dawson Pitcher, will be filling in tomorrow and Friday. But we got a busy Wednesday hump day show. Ken Keller, head of Dignity Health Memorial Hospital, will be joining us. We're going to be talking about a program that the Kern Community College District and Dignity Health have put together, try to bring more physicians to our community. And it involves my dear old Morehouse, not the college, but the relatively new medical school. Relatively new because it wasn't there when I was there, but it's actually probably about, I don't know, maybe 20, maybe even 25 years old. So I'm talking out my hat. It is a Wednesday, so Howard Marcus will be here at 4:30. We are moving Mr. Marcus because Mr. Keller could only do 4 o'clock. And I got a ton of stuff to talk about. Interesting article in today's LA Times regarding the death of Marvin Gaye. I thought I knew the story, and I didn't. There's more to it. There's much more to it. And I was alive. I was 22 years old when his father shot him. But it turns out, according to a witness and according to some police opinions, it was suicide by father. Yeah, I'll explain when we get there in the 5. An NFL executive has reported on the down low that if things don't work out in Cincinnati, Trey Hendrickson could be a Raider. Oh, please don't pay him. Please don't pay him. He would look so good. And so, can you imagine Crosby Hendrickson? Somebody's getting to the quarterback, Jack. I'm telling you, I got a funny feeling. But I had a funny feeling with, what's his name? The redhead. I had a funny feeling with Rusty Hilger. What was his name? What was the redhead's name? Marinovich. I had a funny feeling about Marinovich. But I got a special funny feeling about Gino and this team. Genty, is that his name? Our new running back? I'm telling you, I got a funny feeling. I see a 9-10 win season. And I'm not sure that gets us in the playoffs, but I'd take a 9-10 season. And the Dodgers did what they were supposed to do, and that is beat up on the worst team in baseball after a really frustrating loss the night before. It's a 4-game series, so we got 2 more. And Shohei Ohtani takes the bump tonight for the Dodgers. They're trying to get him to 5 innings tonight, maybe get him a victory. But I got that, and I got some other miscellaneous news and notes, but we begin right here in Kern County. Can I just complain for just a minute? I should be employee of the month because I should not be here. You have no idea the pain I am in right now. Yes, it just absolutely blew up. And I think I'm seeing the podiatrist tomorrow. I'm going to see Etch tomorrow, and I'm taking the shot. Taking the shot. I got to do what I got to do. I can't live like this. It's just you should have seen me getting in and out of the car and hobbling to the. It's humiliating at this point. And it's now not my left foot. My left foot is completely healed. It's now my right ankle. And and don't text in with your gout remedies. I've heard it all. I've tried it all. I'm going to take I'm on Teradol for pain. And I was in here with JR. It was a good thing I read the thing because I thought it just said take one when needed. It says take one when needed every 12 hours. I damn near overdosed. Be a nice way to start the show. So, Ralph, you know what I'm saying? Just dead out on Teradol. But we begin right here in Kern County. As we talked about yesterday, the Board of Supervisors unanimously voted to approve DHS review. And Lito Marco, is that his name? Murillo, I can't even read my own writing. I think it's Lito Murillo, head of DHS, and Mary Bermudez. And this is difficult to say. It really is. This isn't easy to say. They both should be whacked. Absolutely fired. Absolutely fired. Maria, is it? Why do I have? Says Maria? Okay, I got Mary. All right. And that wasn't my penmanship either. I just wrote down Mary. But they both should be whacked. There hasn't been a review of child welfare services. If this was something like, I don't know, name something innocuous, something not important, I could see maybe going 19 years without any type of review. But this is about our children. And you've been ahead of this department, and it hasn't dawned on you until an 8-year-old gets tortured in a local motel to do something about it and do a review and see what the hell's going on, see how this girl fell through the cracks, how people called and called and called, and you all did nothing. You did nothing for that 8-year-old girl. And excuse me if I'm a little bit angry because I'm in a lot of pain and I'm probably a little louder than I might normally be, but this is insane. And how these people, government is the only place where you can absolutely screw up, where your stats can be absolutely horrible, and nothing's done. Nothing's done. They won't get whacked. They won't even get disciplined. Oh, we're going to call on a review now that it's been in the media and an 8-year-old girl got tortured beyond description. I can't even tell you some of the things. I won't tell you some of the things that Lauren Skidmore told me as she described it. We played the audio again for you yesterday where she said veteran police officers like her husband were moved to tears from the torture that this 8-year-old girl experienced. And she never had a chance in life. Born to a meth addict at the age of 16, she gave the child up to the alleged killer's mother. So what kind of, parenthood was that? And then the alleged killer took over with this Gabriella Bustamante, who got her ass kicked in prison in Lerdo the other day because she was apparently laughing and giggling after she came back from court. And she's trying to put it all on Mata. Yeah, no, I'm in favor of the death penalty now. I'm all in favor of it. It's not fair that Bustamante won't get it. And it's not fair that even if Ray Mata Jr. gets it, he won't get it until 2045 if he stays alive that long. There is a list that goes out to California Avenue waiting for the death penalty. Vincent Brothers is still waiting. Scott Peterson is still waiting. And you think we're going to get to somebody who is about to be convicted? And he is about to be convicted. He has the presumption of innocence. He's as innocent as a baby right now, but he is going to be found guilty. And I hope, I pray they give him the death penalty. This is insane. And we talk such a good game about protecting our children. And yet these two knuckleheads are ahead of a department that hasn't examined it in 19 years. I mean, think about this. If you were head of DHS, wouldn't it just kind of, why don't we just kind of review what's going on? Why don't we examine how we do things? But no, these cats are like, everything's good. Everything's good. What's that? We haven't had a review in 19 years? That's okay. That's all right. Flash, 8-year-old tortured. You know what? We need a review. We need a review. I'm going to go to the board and act responsibly and get a review after 19 years. I wonder how long this nitwit's had this gig. And I'm sorry, that's what I'm calling it. An 8-year-old is dead. And who knows what's going on out in our community right now? Because they certainly don't. Child Welfare Services, CPS, they have no clue. And yes, Lauren Skidmore talked about fatigue and caseload and beep the bop the bip and restrictions. And I just don't want to hear it. Then get rid of the damn department then. If you can't help an 8-year-old child who is condemned to torture and death, then what good are you? They should just clean house and bring in some eager young people who have experience with social services, going into homes, following up. None of that's getting done. None of it. And you should all be as angry as I am, whether your right foot hurts or not. Doesn't make any sense. Just doesn't make any sense. We're the 9th largest city in Bakersfield. We're in the top 50 states in this country. And you'd think that Andy and Barney were our sheriff and deputy. You'd think this was Mayberry RFD, the way we handle problems. Our nincompoop city council, our lack of a leader in our mayor, not her fault, total based on the charter. Part-time mayor, part-time city council in the 9th largest city in a state that's big enough to be a damn country. That's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Just so damn angry, I don't know what to do. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the day. And we come back. There's another angle of this story that I'll delve into once I calm down. And you will hear from Maria Bermudez, courtesy KGET TV 17. Well, wait till you hear this woman and see if you interpret what she said as I do. Because it's not very flattering to Miss Bermudez, if you ask me. Then at the bottom of the hour, we'll get back into the Ukrainian situation. Trump now saying he absolutely ruled out boots on the ground yesterday. Thank you, Jesus. But now he's talking about air cover. I'm not even certain I'm in favor of that. What are the Europeans doing? Don't they have planes? I'm pretty sure they have planes in Western Europe. Just saying. We'll get into that. Then we'll talk to Ken Keller from Dignity Health at 4 o'clock about a program to bring more physicians to our community. Howard Marcus will join us at an irregular 4:30. And we'll get into the interesting death of Marvin Gaye. I think you think you know what happened, his father killing him, shooting him. But do you know the real story? I certainly didn't. I was 22 years old when he died. I'll break that down for you in the 5. We'll talk a little sports. Shohei got the bump tonight as the Dodgers try to take command of the series, the 4-game series against the Colorado Rockies. In the meantime, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
with symmetrical all-wheel drive. And now, September 2nd, lease the 2025 Solterra is $259 a month. Zero to at signing. That's right, absolutely nothing at signing. It's an incredible offer on Subaru EV. So don't miss the Subaru A Lots of Love event going on now at Sangera Subaru, 5500 Gasoline, Allen Drive in the Auto Mall. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community.
I didn't say Bakersfield Auto Mall. I didn't say Bakersfield Auto Mall. I didn't say Bakersfield Auto Mall. It wasn't, but that's just her screw up. It also says 5556, which is not the address, or 5600. So that is the right address?
No, it might be. I have to double check this because somebody moved into one that sounded really familiar to me. It was Actor moved into a new one. I think that's their old one.
So 5600 is right?
That might be, again, don't quote me on that.
Well, I've been saying 55. I don't know why I just don't stick to the script.
Yeah, it says 56 on.
Should we recut it?
Yeah, we'll cut that last part at the end of the show. I can just pop it there.
All right.
Yeah, like we recut the whole thing. It's already too long as it is. I'm gonna have to go through that again. Commercials. Looking for flooring? It's on sale at America Ceramics. Looking for kitchen countertops? It's on sale at America Ceramics. How about shower tile? Yep, that's on sale too at America Ceramics. At America Ceramics, everything you need to transform your space is marked down for the summer. From sleek stone surfaces to bold backsplash tiles, they have it, and it's all on sale. Bring your big ideas to America Ceramics at 4000 Fruitvale Avenue, or visit AmericaCeramics.com to get started. But don't wait, styles and savings are going fast, and this summer sale won't last forever. America Ceramics at 4000 Fruitvale Avenue, or visit AmericaCeramics.com to get started. The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and 1180 KRS.
So I suppose everyone is relieved that the Board of Supervisors voted unanimously to approve a review. I will get quickly after this, right? Well, as I mentioned, we haven't had a review of child welfare services because who needs to check on the children since 2006? Took 9 months. Took 9 months. Do you know what kind of mayhem and torture and abuse can happen to these kids out here in 9 months? 9 months? Meantime, Maria Bermudez, who is apparently second in command over there underneath the other knucklehead, Lido Murillo, here's what she told KGET 17. Oh, maybe I'm paranoid because I'm so angry, but it's on us. We're the problem. We're not calling in with details because they depend on that. And maybe that's the issue. Give me a break, lady. Give me a break. These families lined up and told nightmare stories. See the story about the young man whose mother was trying to kill the grandmother? So CPS did the right thing, right? They went in and removed the children, put them in the Jameson Center. Not a great place, but an incredible place and an incredible man, by the way. I knew Dr. Jameson. 3 days later, they were back with their mother. 72 hours after the mother was stopped from killing her own mother, her children were returned to her. What the hell is going on over there? People lined up in droves to tell their stories. One woman told the story, I'm sure many of you saw it, where she called time and time and time and time and time again. That's why this Bermudez bite angers me so. We depend on you all. No, we depend on you, lady. That's why you got to go. They put a petition together to review this thing. They had to put a petition together to get Murillo and Bermudez out. It's just, and life's not fair. It may not be. Let me be fair to Murillo and Bermudez. It may not be you. But life's not fair. You can be the general manager of a newsroom and have quality reporters, quality anchors, and the numbers just aren't where the business wants it. And the GM gets fired. Or the sales numbers aren't really where they are. Boom, you got to go. Doesn't really say that you're a bad general manager necessarily. It just means, look at football, where a lot of times you just need a new voice. Well, we need a new pair of eyes to oversee DHS, Child Welfare Services, CPS. That's my point. It's nothing personal. I don't know these people, but I know the circumstances. We all know the outcome. Some 8-year-old went through something she should have never had to have gone through if CPS in Kern County was remotely competent. Remotely. They would have removed that child look at the bio. Your biological mother's on meth. You've been handed over to a mother-in-law. A mother-in-law whose son, by the way, is a well-known gangbanger, dope-selling, gun-toting, serial number erasing gangbanger. That's exactly who that child should have been raised by. It's dumb. It's stupid. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to lose kids like this. The other part of this story is the La Quinta Hotel. And Lauren Skidmore, executive director of the Open Door Network, brought this up. And I jumped out of my chair because I was thinking the very same thing. This Ray Mata Jr. had some sort of relationship with the owner of La Quinta. And as Lauren put it, somebody had to have heard what was going on. I would have to describe what happened to that girl for you to agree with me, but I'm not going to do it. But trust me on this. If I described some of the things that Lauren told me to you on the air, you would say, you're right, Ralph. Somebody in that hotel heard the screams and the just yelps of an 8-year-old being tortured to death. And I'm just asking, has the DA, has the BPD just looked under the fingernails of this La Quinta owner? This ain't the Padre. And we've seen what's happened in these little tiny, little funky little motels. Hell, we live right next to the motel. We work right next to the Motel 6, where there's been at least one murder in the 12 years I've worked here. Has anybody in law enforcement looked under this guy's fingernails and seen what the hell's going on? Is he running a gang hotel? Why did this gangbanger feel so comfortable checking in at the La Quinta? Why did he feel so comfortable to torture a child, realizing ain't nobody going to do anything, and then throw her in the bathtub? Anybody ask that question? Any journalists in this town ask that question of Greg Terry, Cynthia Zimmer? We'll take a quick time out. We'll come right back. I'll take some blood pressure medication, kind of calm down just a little bit. It just doesn't make sense, folks. It just doesn't make sense. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Unauthorized leaks of classified intelligence and politicized weaponization of intelligence. Hurricane Aaron is creating dangerous beach conditions along the U.S. East Coast. Island today is expected in North Carolina by tonight. Aaron was a Category 2 hurricane on Wednesday, but the winds picked up. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 16 points, but the Nasdaq dropped 142. More details at SRAnews.com. Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN newsroom, you're live at local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'm Bill Robbins. The settlement has been reached in a lawsuit where a man was severely injured at an explosion at an oil well back in 2022. 2023, Leonardo Andrade filed suit against the companies connected to the oil well operation after an explosion led to both legs and his pelvis being broken and major damage.
Thank you.
Details of the settlement.
Do you have control of the video?
In what way?
Can you cut it off when you want to from in there?
No. Why? It's up.
I'm a little nauseous. I just don't want to throw up on TV. Huh? I got a bucket right here. Just move it out of the way. Just get out of camera angle.
Hit the floor real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, that one, or well, no, because you fucking foot and then go to hollow, you're fast enough.
No, I don't think I'd make it. I'll just move the trash can and try to. How far do I have to go? So I just have to get to the end of the table. I can.
Feeling better to be the second person to puke at this place for 24 hours.
Scott threw up
No, me.
in here.
No, not there.
Well, last night.
Yeah, like 5-10 minutes after you left, I got some energy and I walked outside and I felt it. I was like, you know what? Hold on. And just
And blue chunks out there.
in the dirt.
Oh. God, that's a horrible feeling.
You know what though? It's weird for me because once I do that,
You feel better?
Yeah, I feel tons better.
Yeah,
I don't
me too.
know why, but it
Me
just
too.
happens. It's like the pressure's been alleviated.
Yeah.
Adaptive Network, your IT partner in Bakersfield, making it simple, stable, and secure. It's the JR Show. Together, Newsom wants to counteract what Texas is doing in their redistricting by trying to take the power back from an independent council so he can restrict the California line. Matter of fact, he's so confident that he's ready to put it before the voters. You're not there, Kevin. We are the voters, and we'll have the final say. You, sir, will have egg on your face. JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I got you. I feel nice.
842-5376, 842 KERN. Any text messages? Anybody want to chime in on DHS, Child Welfare Services? What do you got? Child welfare? All right, then hang on to it. Vladimir Putin continues to bomb Ukraine. Surprised by that. Meantime, he might provide air cover, take out drones, I suppose. I don't know. Mighty dangerous business. And American support is already hinky, particularly on the Republican side. And all we need is for one fighter to go down in Ukraine. And the masses will be hysterical. Half the Republican Party and every single member of the Democratic Party would lose their minds, absolutely lose their minds. But have you seen recent numbers? Trump's numbers are skyrocketing. People like, and it's not just Republicans, it's overwhelmingly Republicans, quite obviously. But a lot of Democrats like what he's doing. How can they not, as compared to the last 4 years? This thing went on throughout the majority of Joe Biden's administration, and we've seen nothing in those years like the accomplishments that Donald Trump has achieved in 8 months, 7 months. Are you kidding? And it just highlights just how incompetent they were. How he was even dragging his feet on providing military equipment. Remember how we went through that? How I would tell you this is going to be released sooner or later, and they were the Tomahawks or javelins or whatever the military tool was. It was eventually he'd stop dragging his feet. And then finally, near the end of his administration, he permitted the Ukrainians to bomb on Russian soil. Like, since when does an invaded nation need the permission of some of its allies to bomb the invader? I've never heard of that in my life. And only now, of late, are they beginning, the Ukrainians beginning to attack Russia on its soil. But they're still talking a trilateral meeting, meaning Trump, Zelensky, Putin. They're talking about Budapest, and now they've added Geneva, Switzerland, which is not the capital, and it's not Zurich. It's Bern, B-E-R-N is the capital of Switzerland. I only know that because I've actually been there. It's a tiny little sleepy mountain community. I was there when I was about 17 and a half. Switzerland is a remarkably beautiful country. We were based in Geneva. I went on a trip, a high school trip, and we were based in Geneva at an all-girls college. And then we traveled through Switzerland and then did a 3-day canoe and kayak trip down the Ardèche River all the way to Lyon, France, and hung out in the United Kingdom, got kicked off our plane voluntarily, and got $400 cash and got to spend the weekend in London. It's an interesting story. I'll tell it one day, where I got hit on by a gay man. I did. Where he claimed it was a slick little move that he tried. He was at the bar, and it was a bunch of us. And why he targeted me, I have no idea, but he claimed to know my father. And so one of my friends goes up to get a drink, and he comes back and goes, "You see that guy right there, Ralph?" He goes, "Yeah." He says, "He knows your dad." And when you're away from home, that was the end of the trip. We'd been gone for like 30 days. And so I was all excited. I was like, "You know my dad?" He goes, "Yes, have a seat, young man." And he started like getting touchy-feely with me. And after about 3 questions, I was like, this guy doesn't know my dad. And I was like, well, you heard about my dad moving up to Oakland, right? "Oh, yeah, he told me about that." I was like, "Get the hell out of here. My dad ain't never been to Oakland in his life," and ran for the hills. It was the craziest thing in the world. But call me crazy if I can't perceive Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky, or I don't know how you pronounce his first name, in the same room together. I just can't. Because I'm aware of Putin's image of Ukraine. It's not. He has no image of Ukraine. He sees Russia. Like I've been talking about. What war have you ever heard where the leader of the war, the commander, tells his troops to steal the children? Doesn't that tell you something? Doesn't that tell you He doesn't perceive these people as Ukrainians. He sees them as Russians. And he doesn't consider Zelensky the president of anything. And just as Mr. Trump gave Vladimir an incredible platform, Putin would be giving Zelensky an incredible platform after telling his people, and don't forget this, that they were Nazis. Don't you remember the beginning of the war? He told the Russian people that the Ukrainians were Nazis and that we were the rescuers. And that's why we were taking the children to save them from the Third Reich or the reemergence of the Third Reich. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I pray. I think we're on the right side. I just don't see when it gets to be crunch time how Donald Trump fits in with the leader of the UK and France and Germany and Finland and all these countries who firmly believe, as at least I do, I can't speak for you all, that Vladimir Putin started this thing, that this was an invasion. Trump doesn't believe that, or at least that's not what he says. Recently, he wrote that Zelensky could stop this thing anytime he wants. What? Yeah, I guess if you're getting your ass kicked by some guy who's beating up on you in a bar and just pummeling you, I guess you could say, okay, uncle. But he's not the provocateur of this thing. He didn't start this thing. And Trump just isn't on the same page with the rest of the Western European leaders on this deal. But they did seem united. I'll give them that. They all seemed like they were on the same page. If you noticed, if you followed that, I don't know what you want to call it. I guess it was a news conference where they all spoke. Each leader spoke. They all talked about security guarantees, putting NATO troops in Ukraine, which confuses me because I don't understand the difference between Ukraine being a NATO country and having NATO troops in Ukraine. Same difference as far as I'm concerned. And I got a feeling it's going to be the same difference to Vladimir Putin. I can't see him agreeing, yeah, go ahead and put English and French and Finnish troops in Ukraine to prevent me from expanding the war. Yeah, go ahead. That's a good idea. Because he doesn't want this thing to expand, not on these terms. Not on these terms. But I believe if they allow him to get the remaining 80% of Ukraine, Western Europe is in trouble. I truly do. Let's go ahead and take a break. Or no, let's check the board. What do you got? Anything on the board before we get to the break?
What can we do to put pressure on the city to change the charter and get a real mayor and full-time council?
I don't know. I've been asking this question for years, sir. Thanks for the text. I don't know. Maybe we should start a petition drive. Maybe get 10, 15, 20,000 signatures. I don't know what the reluctance is. You know, there are a lot of obstacles we'd have to go through coming up with a salary, office space for these people, staff. I think it'd have to be a very limited staff. Yes, we're the 9th largest city in California. We ain't that big. You can get away with a 2-member staff easily. Easily. Because as a city council member, you should be doing all the work anyway. So I don't see that as a problem. But I don't know what the reluctance is. I really don't. I ask Turnipseed that almost every week he comes in here. We just can't get it done. But I think in the next 5 years, we're going to change it. I really do. I don't think Christian Clegg's going to be around here very long. I really don't. We'll see. Who knows? One more.
I believe the stepmom said that they have been living at that La Quinta for 2 months without paying because they were saving money. Who stays at a hotel for 2 months without paying anything?
And who allows them to stay there for 2 months without paying anything? And that's why I say that the DA's office and the BPD are derelict. If they have not, now if they have, kudos, thank you. But they should be looking under the fingernails of the owner of this La Quinta who had a relationship with the alleged killer. And according to the texter, a pretty damn good relationship. Staying there for 2 months without pay, if that's accurate. I just have a funny feeling that this owner ain't right. I could be wrong, but nobody finds that funky. Hoteliers don't let you stay a night on the cuff. Are you kidding? Let alone a week, let alone a month, let alone 2 months? Are they in cahoots? Did this guy threaten him? Did Mata threaten him? The gangbanging, dope selling, serial number erasing, gangbanging, alleged murderer? We're going to remove one of those words really soon. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll continue to check the board, see what you all are talking about. And coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to talk with Ken Keller of Dignity Health. Howard Marcus will be here at 4:30. Talk about the life and times and death, primarily the death of one of the greatest singers ever, Marvin Gaye Jr. Talk a little football. Well, how far are we from the Thursday night game? 2 weeks? 2 weeks? Dallas, Philly? He's so stupid. No, Jerry. Every day he waits, it costs him more and more money. What? You don't think he's going to pay him? I saw some video last night of him saying he's under contract, you know. He's under contract. People forget, if you're old enough to remember, Emmitt Smith sat out 2 weeks before finally Jerry paid him, and they weren't supposed to win the Super Bowl because no team had ever won the Super Bowl going 0-2, but they did. But I heard a video the other night of Emmitt railing on a reporter who said, Emmitt, you had a similar situation. How did you handle it? Emmitt was like, and he was pissed. He was like, no. I didn't have a contract. Micah has a year left on his contract. When I sat out, nobody was paying me. And then Jerry finally got smart in the second week and paid him, and they won their second, going back-to-back world championships. Quick timeout, coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Of the First Look program, we'll talk to local super attorney Matt Clark about car shows and oil field explosions. And we'll have all the news, traffic, and weather you can possibly ask for. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Look who's here. It's Gino and Tony Valfredo from Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen. Gino, I talked to Mike Corleone, the family, because you kind of stumbled into the family business.
I worked there in junior college a little bit, never known that I'd be back into the business. And then my mom and dad took it over, and I still love the same. And they said, well, we have a restaurant. What do we do now? And my mom said, just treat people the way you want to.
And Tony, it's that philosophy that you created that's made such an iconic restaurant.
I feel like the community comes together when they talk about Luigi's because we've been there for so long. I've seen so many families and children and their children and their children. When we started, it was something else, and now look at it. It's amazing. 80-something employees, and they're just the best people in all of Bakersfield.
Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, where families meet. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. 10 1-year, no interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway. Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Reporting live again from the Santa Margarita Ranch. We are receiving reports that this Christmas you're invited to climb aboard the enchanting Pacific Coast Railroad's Jingle Bell Express for a one-of-a-kind journey from the Central Coast to Santa's Village. Everyone, including this astute reporter, knows that the only way for non-elves to get to the North Pole is on real trains, and theirs include original Disney train cars. It's also being reported that on your journey you'll pass through wonderful wonders of Christmas lights and sights. Then when you arrive at Santa's Village, there will be a captivating Christmas-themed magic show, a charming Christmas market, adorable pony rides, and more food, fun, and frivolity than ever. This just in, a reminder that the Jingle Bell Express only runs for a limited time from November 28th to December 21st, and tickets sell out fast. But don't worry if your plans change, because this reporter has enough good authority that your tickets can change too. So make sure you reserve your seats on the Jingle Bell Express by going to Christmas@themargarita.com before the Christmas train passes you by.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Eight 842-5376, 842-KERN. Anything? By the way, did you guys watch the Dodger game last night? I still think that there's going to be a move. I think they're going to put Teo Hernandez in left field. I think they're going to move Mookie out to right and let either Miggy or Edman, who's about to come back off IL, play short. Or the third baseman. What's the third baseman's name? No, the other one. Free something. It's not Freeman. It's not Friedkin. That's the director of The Exorcist. Freeway, freeloader, free, born free. Hey Siri, show me the Dodger third baseman.
Here's an answer from Wikipedia.
Nicholas Peter Senzel is an American professional baseball outfielder and third baseman. Freeland, thank you. Freeland. He's a shortstop. They moved him to third base. So let him play short. He's a natural shortstop. Mookie is a natural right fielder. Damn. That just don't make no sense.
I was kind of thinking about it though. Wouldn't you want Teo in right though? Because isn't traditionally the right fielder the least defensive savvy of the three?
But it's the most field to cover.
Fair.
You know, left field, it's line drives, and if it's in the alley, that's Andy Pages' ball. But there have been 3 balls that he didn't get to. And the reason I brought it up, did you watch the game last night? He made like 3 really nice catches. He really did. It was funny. I was like, all right, maybe he just wasn't trying. I don't know. But he made 3 really nice catches last night.
I mean, Roberts came out and criticized Shohei, and Shohei got fired under his butt too. So maybe he just needs to start calling guys out more often.
Yeah, I've always thought that. I've always thought Dave Roberts was too much a player's coach and too nice to these guys. I like Tommy.
Maybe it's just too much of a friendly atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Tommy. Tommy used to come in. Have you ever been into a clubhouse and seen the spread they lay out for the players after a game? It's remarkable. And this goes back to the 80s. My cousin was Gerald Perry, played for the Atlanta Braves. And he was the idol of my grandmother's eye. He was one of my grandmother's sister's boys. So he was my grandmother's aunt. And all I had to do was mention Sadie Bailey and he would get us tickets. And the first time we went, he said, come down to the clubhouse. Just tell them midnight. Said you could you were invited. That was his nickname because, like I said, my dad's side of the family. Oh, by the way, I got some new black jokes. I can't remember them all, but I remember one of them. That my dad was so dark that his brothers said he looked like underneath the bed. And there are a couple of more that I found. Well, yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. My dad's side of the family is so dark when they get out of the car, the oil light goes on. I'm just saying they're dark. My mother wouldn't buy lotion for my dad. She bought Armor All. I'm just saying he was a dark brother. And what was I talking about? My side of the family. I forget what the hell I was talking about. Oh, Gerald Perry. Yeah. So that was his nickname. Why do you think his name was Midnight? It's dark as all get out. And so we go down, and I'm like, my boys are like, we're not going to get in by just saying Midnight, let us in. And I go, I'm Gerald Perry's cousin. There's a big security guard at the door of the clubhouse, and big no gambling sign right there. And I said, my cousin Gerald Perry said to come down. He said just to give him his nickname, Midnight. And they're like, come on in. And we came in, and there is a table about 10, 15 yards long with nothing but cold cuts and potato salad, blah, blah, blah. And what Tommy would do when he was mad, he'd come in the clubhouse and flip the table. Like, nobody's eating tonight. How the hell can you guys eat tonight? We just got beat by the Colorado Rockies, the worst team in baseball. And you all are thinking about food? You ought to be thinking about the start tomorrow. That's what you ought to be thinking about. Ain't nobody eating. And he just go down the row and just throw up the deal. You got to have tough love every now and again. I just don't see Dave Roberts doing that. You know what I mean? Although, as Chris points out, for him to come out in the press and attack his $700 million man, because that was Phil Jackson's deal. That's another coaching technique. You get on the superstar. In fact, sometimes Phil would tell Michael, hey, we lost 2 in a row. I'm going to go off on you on practice. And he'd go off on Michael. And if you're BJ Thomas and Phil just went off on Mike, you know you next. You might get cut if he's cursing out Michael. That's an old coach's trick. Pat Riley used to do it. Never did it to Cap. Did he? Adrian Brody. Did he? I would be surprised. I should have saved the audio. I hope I did. I know I didn't send it to you, but I hope I saved it. Magic is sitting down with Hot Smoke or whatever the hell it's called. Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. And he's telling a story about they were going to New York. And Patrick Ewing is just talking smack. And he went over and sat next to Cap. And he said, you see this, Cap? You see this? Patrick Ewing's talking about he's going to tear you up. Hey, Cap, I thought you were from New York. I thought you went to Powers High School. I thought New York was your city. Not according to Patrick. He says he's going to eat him up. And then they're laughing and giggling. Magic says, Kareem had 47 that night. Quick time out. There is a program that has been initiated to try to bring more physicians to Bakersfield and Kern County. We're going to talk to the head of Dignity Health, Ken Keller. Join us next. Then, slipping him out of his time slot, our good friend Howard Marcus joins us at the bottom of the hour. You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show. I'd stick around if I you.
Yeah, I like those.
Hey,
Just saying hello.
what's really going on?
She worried me. She walked in and said, "Oh, God,
What's happening? You just can't hear it?
yeah, they can't hear me."
California
that's the
parents
biggest
rallied
complaint.
outside the state capitol
You got
building
that
in
on zero
Sacramento
now.
Tuesday to oppose Assembly Bill 495, legislation that would allow anyone
No,
to
that's
download an
low.
online form and remove children from public schools or daycare centers. The outpouring of citizen action was organized by Pastor Jack Hibbs of Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills.
What's
During
really
the
going
rally,
on?
He spoke with Sacramento radio station
Yeah.
AM 1380, The Answer.
You
No.
can go back to school that evening to pick up your kid. They won't be there. And listen to this. The school has no obligation whatsoever to tell you, the parent, who took your kid.
541
Where are they?
0001.
They don't have to tell.
Anything
This has
going
gotta
on over there?
stop. This state is out of control, and these wonderful people here by the thousands
Ask
are
Billy.
holding Newsom accountable
No.
to what he does with
No
this
way.
bill. We're asking him to veto the bill.
That controversial legislation, AB 495, has now been referred back to committee for further study. President Trump is calling on a Federal Reserve governor to resign. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The director of the agency that oversees mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac has urged the Justice Department to investigate
Well, we
Fed
miss
Governor Lisa Cook. The administration accuses her of committing mortgage fraud. Writing online, President Trump said Cook must resign
Especially
now.
minus
The allegation is the
DOB.
administration's latest attack on the Fed, which has yet to cut its key interest rate as the
Yes,
president
it
has
did.
demanded. Greg
All right, take
Clugston,
care.
the White House.
Hurricane Aaron is threatening dangerous beach conditions along the U.S. East Coast. High winds and waves are expected in North Carolina by tonight. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Everybody is keeping an eye on the Fed and how an interest rate cut might affect gold prices. Gold has been hovering at around $3,400 an ounce for the last 2 months and is poised for dramatic growth with the next interest rate cut. If you have a qualified IRA or 401k, you could receive up to $10,000 in free gold and silver when you open your retirement account with Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000 now or visit AdvantageGold.com and get your free gold IRA guide. Consult with your financial and tax professionals before making investment decisions. Call 800-900-8000.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. The man accused in the shooting death of a 17-year-old boy near the Panorama Bluffs has pleaded not guilty. 19-year-old Sebastian Dominguez appeared in court Tuesday afternoon, pleaded not guilty to the charge of first-degree murder and is being held without bail. Bakersfield police responded to the call at about 1 a.m. Sunday. The victim reportedly tried to de-escalate an argument between two women when he was shot. Dominguez is expected back in court on August 28th. A former Arvin High School teacher facing charges for having sex with an underage student has taken a plea deal. Michael Joseph Para pleaded no contest to 2 out of 7 felony counts, including unlawful sexual intercourse. Sentencing will be on October 16th. The plea deal requires Para to spend 180 days in jail, serve 2 years probation, pay restitution, and abide by a restraining order keeping him from the victim. A 34-year-old man has been arrested after a person was reported stabbed with serious injuries. According to KCSO, it happened just before 2 o'clock Sunday morning. Deputies were called to the 4200 block of Willow Trail. By the time they got there, the stabbing victim had been airlifted to Antelope Valley Hospital. 34-year-old Shane Fisher was identified as a suspect. He was arrested and booked into the Lerdo jail. He faces charges including attempted murder. A dog who was rescued from a chance of being euthanized will become a rescue dog himself. Loki was being held at Kern County Animal Services when he was 9 months old and time was running out. Nick Fuentes found him, first deciding to foster the dog, but ended up bonding with him. Fuentes is a volunteer with Kern County Search and Rescue. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this. Little bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Wednesday, 20th day of August. It is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live, KERNradio.com. Still lots to do. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, our former federal agent and our Wednesday regular, Howard Marcus, will join us. We'll talk about the death of Marvin Gaye in the 5. I know you think you know how he was murdered by his father, but there's more to the story. If you want to beat me to it, the story is in today's LA Times. Go check it out. And we'll talk a little football. NFL executives are speculating that Trey Hendrickson, one of the best defensive ends in football with the Cincinnati Bengals, who haven't signed him yet, if he doesn't sign, they're saying that he could be traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. Man, he looked good in silver and black. And game 3 of the 4-game series with the Rockies, it's 1-1 so far. The Dodgers absolutely blew the first game, did what they were supposed to do last night, destroying Colorado. And tonight, Shohei Ohtani takes the bump. But in the meantime, there's a program that has begun that involves multiple agencies, hospital, Dignity Health, and Kern Community College districts. Some other folks are all involved, trying to bring more physicians to our community. And to help us talk about it, the president CEO of Dignity Health Memorial Hospital, Ken Keller. How are you, Ken? Thanks for taking the time coming on the program.
Thank you much for the invite. Today's a good day. I appreciate the opportunity to talk.
Yeah, we've had you on the program before, but you know what I've never done? Who is Ken Keller? So who is Ken Keller? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to college? How'd you get into medicine? How'd you come to Bakersfield?
Well, Ken Keller grew up in South Louisiana, so I'm a product of the Gulf South. Grew up in Baton Rouge, so I'm also an LSU and mini SEC fan. Got into healthcare as a career, inspired by my grandfather, who was a longtime physician, my mother, who was a practice administrator, and my older sister, who was a nurse, and really focused on supporting caregivers in the business side of healthcare. And I've been doing it from the hospital side, physician side, and health plan side for about 35 years.
Yeah. Do you have a medical degree?
No, sir.
No,
sir.
Just total administration?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. When did you come to Baco? And what brought you out here?
Initially came in 2003 here at Memorial for about 5 years doing physician relation work, business development work, strategy, and things like that. Left for about 7 years and came back in 2015 to join the team as the COO, and was fortunate enough to be promoted to CEO in 2018.
Yeah. Let's talk why I got you on the program, about the program that I so inadequately described. Tell us who's all involved and what you guys are trying to do, and how my dear old Morehouse, at least the medical college, is involved.
Well, I'll start wide and then isolate it down to here.
All right.
Our two organizations, Morehouse School of Medicine and our parent company, Comet Spirit Health, formed a partnership called the More in Common Alliance about 6 years ago. That partnership included an investment of about $115 million to fund the operations and expenses of developing residency programs in markets where Common Spirit Health has hospitals, such as Bakersfield in California, also Ventura, Santa Cruz, and other locations, with the express intent to create, or I'll say to build residents within minority populations, to focus on building resonance within markets that had a significant need for additional physicians, to focus on building resonance and teaching physicians on providing culturally competent care based upon the diverse populations in those markets. So what we've done is basically scale what Morehouse has been doing as one of only 4 historically black medical schools, and bring those opportunities into other markets across the country. And 18 markets were identified within Common Spirit Health locations to start off with, and Bakersfield was one of those. So that's where it started. And what we have decided is, using that infrastructure, launched our initial internal medicine residency program, which, when we get to full slate, will probably include 6 to 8 residency programs across a number of different specialties: medicine, pediatrics, OB-GYN, surgery, possibly anesthesia, emergency medicine, and maybe a couple of others as we learn along the way, with the express intent of developing residents and physicians here and trying to help ease the severe shortage that we have of physicians in Kern County, and use this as one tool to try to do so. Because one of the statistics that you'll find is, given a certain location, physicians will stay in the location where they trained about 60 to 70% of the time.
So the goal is to get them out here to do their residency, and then hope and that the statistics bear out, and that they uplift our number of physicians here in Kern County.
Absolutely, yes, sir. That's one of our goals.
Yeah. Do we have commitments from anyone yet, or is this thing just getting up off the ground?
We've got our first class of residents that started last month, and of the 10 residents that started with us, we know that 3 have already said that they're going to continue to stay and practice here. Don't have it in writing, but what we do have is guys that have already bought homes.
Wow.
And
that's a good sign.
And I've already said that, this is where I grew up, and I want to come back home to Bakersfield to train and be a doc and then practice here.
That's exciting. That really is. It's working already.
Yes, sir.
How bad is the need for physicians here in Kern County and Bakersfield?
Well, one of the things that we have to do as a hospital is what's called a community health needs assessment every 3 years, where we look at the market, determine the given population of a market, the demographics of age, sex, and all kind of other things. And then we compare that against the number of physicians within a given market. And given the statistics today, Kern County has a shortage of about 300 primary care physicians today.
Wow. That's frightening.
If we don't do something about it, as we grow as a county, that number is going to get worse off. And one of the major needs that this community has is access to healthcare.
Absolutely.
So this is one of the ways that we're working to try to improve that access.
Yeah. Will these be exclusively Dignity Health physicians, or will they practice at any hospital or privately if they desire?
Well, as residents, they'll train primarily here at Memorial, and as well as through a couple of our affiliated partners on the ambulatory side for what's called continuity care. So they'll spend time at clinics over at Clinica Sierra Vista, at Kaiser Permanente. They will do most of their inpatient work here at the hospital, but once they finish and become physicians, they're not restricted to one hospital or another.
Right.
The goal, obviously, is to try to keep them here, either here at Memorial or here within Bakersfield as a whole.
Yeah. Ken Keller is our guest, the president of Dignity Health Memorial Hospital. So how many physicians do we have now, and what's the goal, and when does the next program begin?
We have 10 residents today. Next July, which is the next enrollment and the next launch, I'll say the next year for starting, will grow to 20 medicine residents.
Wow.
10 another 10 what are called a transitional year, so that'll be 30. But once we get to the other programs and getting those up and running, we anticipate somewhere about 80 to maybe 90 residents here on campus going forward.
Yeah. Is there a specific need in a specific portion of medicine, ER, anesthesia, radiology, OBGYN, etc.? Is there any specific need?
Across the board in this county, we have a need for virtually every specialty that's out there. But the three areas that are most critical are traditional primary care, that means internal medicine and family practice, OB-GYNs, and pediatricians.
Yeah. Child care is a big issue here. Wow, this is really outstanding. It really is. Would this be an ongoing program, or is it limited to how long this will go on?
Oh, this is, for us, it'll go on in perpetuity. And one of the things that has generated a lot of interest is, as we've developed this, we've also built further relationships with the, I'll say, education system. So we've got Kern County Superintendent of Schools and Kern High School districts and others working with us to identify students that are interested in health careers. We had a couple of health career academies in partnership with KCSOS, Kern Community College District, and Cal State Bakersfield. And that, I'll call it consortium and collaboration that we put together this summer, will continue to get better and closer over the next years as we look for ways to build what are called pathways for high schoolers and college students that are interested in health careers, to get them the resources, information, and support that they need to make it to where they want to get to where they want to be.
Wow. This is exciting news. And it's unfortunate that the media doesn't see this sexy enough, because this should be, right across the front page of the Californian. It should be the lead on some of the television news stations, because this could be, it is going to be life altering for this community.
And, the good thing about it is we're not stopping, and those headlines may come.
Yeah, I hope so.
At the end of the day, it's really about, working to improve the health of the lives here in Kern County.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much for taking the time and coming on the program. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for the call, and anytime. You guys have a great rest of the week. Okay?
You too. Thank you, sir. Ken Keller, President, CEO, Dignity Health Memorial Hospital. Good guy. Really good guy. Smart guy. And I'm telling you, this is a big program. It really is. I came here in 1992 when my father was still alive, and he was practicing here. And he talked about the lack of pediatric help. It's one of the reasons that when I got onto radio some 20 years later, I absolutely lost my mind. Well, this is actually in the late 90s, that we didn't have a children's hospital. And it was Sue Benham, who was just left the city council. And instead of calling my show and berating me, she asked me to go to lunch. And she took me to lunch, and she said, I understand your passion, Ralph, but I'm not sure you're aware of all the things that are going on. And that's when I became aware of the Smalls family and all the things that they were doing. And now we are annually a part of the Children's Miracle Network fundraiser that has done miracles in terms of pediatric care, the neonatal unit, what they're doing now for a surgical unit for pediatrics. In the 20 years, or more than that now, good Google Mugway, but in the time that I've been here, medical care in this community has improved immensely. What's scary We're still not there yet. We're at about a CC plus. But the important thing is people like Ken Keller, Michael Bowers, Ganesh, Kern Community College District, Dignity Health. We're all pushing the rock up the hill. That's the most important thing. Quick time out. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Hump Day Wednesday. Howard Marcus will join us at the bottom of the hour. In the meantime, you are listening to TRBS on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180. KERN, we're streaming live, kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Messmaker?
Can you run one?
I got the one for you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Continued drama surrounding will they or won't they? Will Ukraine and Russia meet in person? Plus, Buck.
Looking at the latest with the fight against crime in D.C., already some numbers showing the Trump approach is working. Democrats scrambling because are they really the pro-crime party? We'll talk about this on Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180. KERN.
Hope you join us every Thursday, particularly at 4:30, when Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors joins us. Daniel gives us a weekly update on the deficit and its growth. We look at silver and gold and obviously the stock market and all kind of economic issues that most importantly impact you. But again, you guys know what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. They're all about retirement. I keep telling you guys, it's one of the smartest moves that I've ever made financially. Call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400 if retirement is in your near future. Or just tune in Thursdays at 4:30 when he joins us every week. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or NPWA Inc., DBA Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Please meet Paul Sheldon's client, Vivian Rushing.
Hi, my name is Vivian Rushing. I am a client of Paul Sheldon. They helped me get everything in order. I had no clue what I was doing, and they were wonderful. The staff is amazing. Lynn and Kelly go out of their way to make you feel comfortable when you walk through the doors and make sure you have everything that you need. Paul is very accommodating. He uses himself as an example to help you understand the process of the insurance and what benefits you should be looking at and what you shouldn't be looking at and how to go about getting it together. I have recommended Paul Sheldon. Just a couple of days ago, I was in line to get my medications, and this gentleman was talking about retiring and didn't know what to do. I told him, contact Paul Sheldon. He's the best. I just want to say thank you, Paul Sheldon. You're wonderful and your staff is amazing.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Really happy to see that. I'm really happy to see that Morehouse Medical School, which is completely separate from Morehouse College, is involved with this. It is outstanding. It truly, truly is. Morehouse Medical School did not exist when I matriculated in Atlanta. And it really got up on its feet. And I forget his name, but our president was a physician. But Hugh Gloucester was the president when I was there. But in the late 80s, a physician became our president. And then he got named, I believe, by George Bush to be Bush's Surgeon General. Please stand by. Hey Siri, who was George Herbert Walker Bush's Surgeon General?
Regina Marcia Benjamin, born October 26,
Apparently not.
1956.
An American physician and former nonprofit primary care medical clinic, and served on the board of trustees for the Morehouse School of Medicine. But that's not
president though, right?
American physician, former vice president, Regina Benjamin. But that's not. It was a male, and that's during Barack Obama's. What is she talking about?
Siri throwing you off again?
Totally.
Give me 1 second.
Hey Siri, who was George Bush's Surgeon General?
Here's an answer from Wikipedia and community letter.
Not Walker Bush. Look up George Herbert Walker. Sullivan? Is that his name?
I'm seeing Antonia Novello.
No. Under George Herbert Walker Bush?
Yes. In the 1990s.
Maybe it was Clinton. I don't know. But anyway, the president of Morehouse became the Surgeon General, which is basically the country's physician. And it was his idea to get med school up on its feet. And I think the med school was created like in the 90s. But I won't be satisfied until we get the name of the Surgeon General.
David Satcher?
No.
Satcher?
I don't think so.
That was Clinton's.
Was he a brother?
Yeah.
Oh, he was a brother?
He's a brother.
Oh, do you have a bio?
Let's see.
Former president of Morehouse College?
Appointed by Bill Clinton and remained Surgeon General until 2002. Trying to find his previous. I'm sorry. Give me a second.
I don't think it was Satcher. For some reason, the name Sullivan sticks out in my mind. Oh, you know what I should have done? Hey, Siri, show me all the Surgeon Generals of the United States. That'll get it done.
Satcher served as the professor and chairman of the Department of Community Medicine and Family Practice at Morehouse School of Medicine.
And he was a Surgeon General?
He was a Surgeon General for Clinton, yes.
But he was not president of Morehouse College.
No, but it does say he's a chairman and a professor there.
No, this guy was the president.
He also has ties to UCLA School of Medicine and the public health and whatnot.
No, this guy was the president. I'm almost positive. That's okay.
Back-to-back Morehouse people, though.
Isn't that crazy?
That's fine.
Would have never known that. Just saying. Harvard, Morehouse of the North. Screw that. We're the Harvard of the South. No. We would always correct people. No, Harvard is the Morehouse of the North. Let's read a text message and then get Mr. Marcus in here.
Under Biden's leadership, America's military support allowed the Ukrainians to fight, or a fighting chance. This war would have taken a weekend if not for Biden's policy of supports. Trump would not have offered supper and simply allowed Putin to roll into Kiev.
Are you serious? Are you serious? You're defending Joe Biden's administration, let alone his handling of Ukraine? Democrats don't even defend Biden's handling of Ukraine.
They're also claiming it's only escalated since Trump has gotten in office.
There are 150,000 troops on the border of Ukraine, and Joe Biden said, don't. He made no attempt to stop this thing before it got started. Don't rewrite history. Have you gone nuts? Quick time out. Howard Marcus is next.
News
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Texas's House of Representatives is approving a new map that creates up to 5 new winnable congressional seats for the GOP. The map passed Wednesday after a push by President Trump for Republican-controlled states to redraw their legislative maps to give his party a better chance of holding on to control of the U.S. House of Representatives in the midterm elections. The maps must be approved by Texas's Republican-controlled Senate and Governor Greg Abbott before they become official. Hurricane Erin is creating dangerous beach conditions along the U.S. East Coast. High wind and waves are expected in North Carolina by tonight. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 16 points. The Nasdaq dropped 142. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. The man accused in the shooting death of a 17-year-old boy near the Panorama Bluffs has pleaded not guilty. 19-year-old Sebastian Dominguez appeared in court Tuesday afternoon. He pleaded not guilty to the charge of first-degree murder and is being held without bail. Bakersfield police responded to the call at about 1 a.m. Sunday. The victim reportedly tried to de-escalate an argument between two women when he was shot. Dominguez is expected back in court on August 28th. A former Arvin High School teacher facing charges for having sex with an underage student has taken a plea deal. Michael Joseph Parra will have to spend 180 days in jail, serve 2 years probation, pay restitution, and abide by a restraining order. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries here
You want to
in
know how
Kern
messed
County.
up I am?
You are eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor
freezing.
who listens and cares about you with minimal wait
can't
times
even
and prompt
explain that.
referral authorizations. It's
Absolutely
time
freezing.
you
I
learned
just
about
turned the air
QualCare
off.
IPA. QualCare IPA
I thought it was on like
contracts with
69.
most
It's on
Medicare Advantage health
73.
plans
And I'm
provides
freezing.
you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and
I
quality
ain't right.
That's the pain getting to you.
Huh?
That's the pain.
Makes you cold?
Can. That's make you hot.
I am freaking freezing. It's crazy.
At
And I feel like I could go any minute. I thought I was going to
Let us
go in the
help you
Keller and I
understand
really
your
didn't.
healthcare options for 2025.
Be good
Call
TV.
today, 661-554.
I can just imagine be like, Kevin, give me 1 second.
Well, I would just, they wouldn't see it.
No, and I would have to turn.
They'd hear it.
Off, but yeah, they'd hear it.
They'd hear it big time. God, I bet they'd get sick. Because even the sound of somebody doing that makes me
Thursday's
sick.
Armstrong and Getty show.
You imagine people all over Kern County just listening, all of a sudden just be like, that sounded like what I think it sounded like.
You want to talk about getting ratings?
No
You
kidding.
and your children? Why would they want to do
Yeah,
that?
tomorrow will be
Well,
big.
There's an answer, and it's pretty
Let's see
troubling.
if
we'll
he does
have
it
that
again.
and the news of the day on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Armstrong and Getty Show. Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Iger and she hug back.
Like the sailor said, quote, ain't that a hole in the boat?
It's a Wednesday. Way to slide him down out of his time slot, but nevertheless, former federal agent Howard Marcus joins us. How are you, Howard?
Howdy, proving I obviously have no life. An open time frame.
It's just a half hour.
Yeah, not a big deal at all.
Just a half hour.
Yeah, no biggie.
What's going on with you?
Oh, I just got back from Bakersfield. I came within literally a split second of rear-ending somebody about 40 miles an hour in the canyon. So it's been an interesting day already. They had an accident, and the idiot tow truck driver on a blind curve, he started holding a slow, not a stop sign. You see that, and in 20 feet around the corner with no vision, with no chance to react, is the wreck. And it went down to one lane. So I see them go, oh crap, and they start to brake, and I had to go across the lane to the other side. And luckily, there was no car there to avoid rear-ending the guy ahead of me. I made for a white knuckle moment.
Yeah, I'll get your blood pressure going. A little bit, just a
I
little
mean, it
bit.
was just dumb. You need to be about 50 foot back, especially with just a slow sign, not a stop. That's like, okay, I'll slow, and then still rear end the guy.
That's crazy.
Oh, well. There's an accident in that canyon. It just doesn't make the news. There's an accident in canyon at least once a week.
Really?
And it's almost, oh yeah. Yeah, the only time it makes the news is when there's fatality.
Right.
But I can't tell how many times I've driven by people either they'll sideswipe somebody or they'll go too fast and go off the road, which is what I think this guy did. Multiple car collisions all the time. Yeah, because, when the speed limit's 40, these guys are going like 60.
Yeah.
And it's really dangerous. And it's not necessarily what you're doing, it's what everybody else is doing.
Yep. Got to drive defensively these days.
Oh yeah. Well, I use every turnout. If somebody wants to speed, let them go by me. There's a couple of turnouts, every so often, and you just turn out and let them go by.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much of a hurry are you to get in a wreck?
Yeah.
But that made for an exciting moment, I guess.
Anything specific you want to talk about?
Anything you want. There's so much news in so many venues. National, international, local. State. You just pick it. Well, that poor kid, the 8-year-old. I mean, you've been talking about it all week, and it just shows the failure of some of these, these government institutions when they become just a paper pusher and don't react to this stuff. And I saw some of the testimony, and it was person, like you said, person after person after person.
Yep.
Failures of the system. And the sad part is, Mary was a mandatory reporter when she was in, teaching with the handicapped children. And they're always at their toes because if a kid goes home with a bruise, they trip and fall. These are, remember, mentally disabled or handicapped children. If they trip and fall at work, they better do paperwork right away. That kid comes home with a bruise, self-inflicted, and the parent calls, and the teachers are in trouble.
Right.
And, they're what's called a mandatory reporter. So obviously they would anyway. It's just kind of a CYA thing. But some of the abuse these kids get that even she had in her classroom is just horrendous. I remember she had a 16-year-old kid who was completely autistic. I mean, nonverbal, violent, and he was named Willie, and his father was pimping him out. He's a crack baby, so he had all these issues. And what they end up doing is they basically warehouse him after age 22. They never get him. They never go out into society. They don't get to a halfway house. They just kind of, go through the motions. And there was tons of kids like that. It's really sad.
How is it possible that they went almost 20 years without any type of review?
Well, I'm assuming that they're overworked, but if you look at the budget for Kern County, you realize half of our budget goes to entitlement programs, including CPS and welfare and, all the various food programs and everything else involved. It's not like we're not giving them enough money. If you look at the budget that they get, that's a pretty large department, Health and Human Services. And I don't think there's any excuse, even if you just touch bases with them. But you see a kid that had visible bruises and burns, how hard is it to see that?
Right.
All they had to do is just one stop and knock, and see what's going on. And I don't know what like you said, I don't know what the neighbors are doing. How can you not hear a kid shrieking in a hotel?
Yeah.
Even if your own peace of mind for the noise, complain to someone.
Right. Right.
It's a failure of the system. We've heard this over and over and over again. Kids will just disappear. I mean, remember those two little boys in the desert in California City that just disappeared?
Yeah.
Never did find the bodies. The foster parents were charged.
Yep.
How could they not have anybody checking on them?
Yep. And there was a long history there as well.
Exactly. And I can't comprehend the evil that some people do. If you're going to beat the child and kill them, just give the child up.
Just give them up. Just give them up.
A lot of time there's money involved. The parents, if they're foster parents, they get a big check. The mother may be qualifying for additional benefits because of the children. Again, money, WIC coupons or the equivalent or food stamps.
Yeah, my dad said 8 out of 10 questions can be answered with the word money. It's crazy. I think upper management should be whacked, Howard. I really do.
Yeah.
Just start again.
Oh yeah, I don't have a problem with that. There's going to be lawsuits. I hope there is.
Oh, of course
the
there
light of day is shown on this, and then who's responsible for the inattention gets fired. Quite simply, unfortunately, it's civil service. It'll take a long time.
Yeah, and this review that they did conduct almost 20 years ago took 9 months.
Yeah, exactly. And that's without this kind of incident that they're gonna cross every T and dot every I supposedly, but they're also to make sure they're covering themselves.
Yeah,
because they're aware of the potential liability. So I'm not sure how much honesty you're going to see. This is like a grand jury thing. I don't trust the department that polices itself. I want to see somebody from the outside, like the grand jury, come and really investigate.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
It's tragic, and there's no excuse for this in this day and age, We're not talking about the 1950s or 40s where stuff's swept under the rug and, all these horrible abuse stories to come up to light 20, 30, 40 years later. We're talking about people now that are very aware of this stuff.
Yep.
The public awareness ads and all the news stories, there's no excuse.
Yeah. And then to hear Maria Bermudez talk about, well, we depend on you all as if it's our fault, as if they're not being reported. They're being reported.
Yeah, that's just
being ignored.
Yeah, they apparently had repeated calls. And they go,
yes.
What's your story? That social worker needs to be fired.
Absolutely.
Here's the door. Get your box. Here's your cardboard box. Clear off your desk. You want to sue later? We'll bring in the light of day what you failed to do. And there's no excuse for this kind of stuff. We're not in the ninth. Like I said, we're not 100 years ago. People are very aware of child abuse now. Between the real awareness on child trafficking and all the drug issues and everything else that we see as a society every day in the news. There's no excuse.
And how much
really isn't.
How much effort does it really take just to go visit the house?
None.
Just go visit the house.
Retired probation officer. You just touch base. You
exactly.
Just knock on the door.
Just stay in contact.
Bring them to the door. Let me see the kid.
Yep.
And the way this abuse was so horrific, they couldn't have hidden it.
No, not at all. Not at all. You could tell, and even Lauren Skidmore from the Open Door Network talked about this. You can tell by her haircut. You could tell if you watch that picture closely enough that 17 keeps popping up, you can see her teeth. Her teeth are all messed up, and one of her front tooth is chipped. I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you get the kid away from the parent too. You take him in another room and say, "How are you doing?" And say something as simple as "Lift your shirt up. Let me see your back."
Yep.
Look for bruises and stuff like that. It's not brain surgery. I mean, we're not talking about something that's really hard to figure out.
No, exactly.
The signs were so evident apparently, and this went on for months apparently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're going to get. I really hope, and I just hope that the self-policing isn't failed, because I just think that's going to be they're going to go out of their way to say, well, things happened and this and that. No, I want somebody fired.
That's why you need new faces. Exactly. That's why you need to get rid of Murillo and Bermudez and everybody that's on top of that management level, and just clear them out. Bring in some eager young people that want to bring in some change, want to examine closely, and it shouldn't take 9 months to review.
Well, the problem you got with the county system and in a lot of these departments, a lot of these people are what they call placeholders waiting for retirement. They're promoted to a certain system. They're just sitting at their desk.
Yep.
They used to have that real problem. Remember, for years with animal services, with these shelters, they put this guy in so he could get as high as 3 for his retirement, and they finally got somebody that actually cares about cutting down the euthanasia rate for animals. But it took them 10 years.
Yeah.
Year after year after year, and these guys did nothing. You need to clear this out and find somebody who's really an advocate for the children and put them in that job.
When we were killing 20,000 animals a year.
Oh yeah,
it was crazy.
We cut the number way down, but we're still killing probably 10,000 a year.
Yeah, yeah.
Horrible. I mean, that's another issue. But it finally took somebody who's actively working with rescue groups. For a long time, they wouldn't work with rescue groups. It's another subject, but I'm sure that's the same problem with this department. You get to middle management and higher management, you're not in the field anymore.
Nope.
You're pushing paperwork. And if your subordinates say they're doing the job, you're not following them in the field and checking on them. You're trusting them. And obviously this is what happens.
Yeah. That's should be the most important aspect of their job, getting out in the field.
Yep.
And visiting 10, 12, 20 homes a day.
Yep.
And it doesn't take long. You go in the house.
It really doesn't.
You see the child, you look in the refrigerator, you look around, make sure it's not roach infested and feces from dogs or cats, and you're out the back door. And you're right. And maybe take 5 minutes and sit down with the child isolated and do a little quick interview, examine the body. You're out of there in 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Well, there's got to be a cultural shift. Maybe this might spur change. I'm not real confident about it.
No, neither am I.
The county has a horrible record of reforming itself. It really does.
Yep.
You see it at all these levels. I remember I had a friend who worked, and rather than cut middle management, they actually fired the people in the field. They did a riff in the field people, so the job wasn't getting done at all anyways. But all the middle management that pushed paper stayed because they weren't about to fire themselves.
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of the culture we have here. It's still a small town in some of the worst ways.
It really is.
Yeah,
and we're not a small town. That's what's so crazy.
We're not. There's no excuse for this. They have a huge budget. Take those middle managers and go, you have a certain period of time you have to go along as like a ride along. And you go ahead and observe. And if they're not doing their job, then you're not doing your job.
Yeah. And I'd love to know what Murillo and Bermudez are making.
Oh, got to be over 100 grand each.
Oh, easy.
120, 140, 150.
I bet it's close to 2.
Yeah, which is insane anyway. Look
Yes.
at the pension problems we have with the county.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And they're doing
I've had that
nothing.
problem with what we pay people here for years. We pay way too much for people that are doing way too little.
I agree. 100%. 100%. What is your take? Howard Marcus is our guest, former federal agent. Your take on what is happening this week with Ukraine?
It's going to be interesting because I don't. Putin is a sociopath or a psychopath. Your choice. He is intent on getting the band back together and rebuilding the USSR. Europe's finally figured it out. This is sort of like Czechoslovakia in 1938. That they're partitioning Ukraine essentially is what they're trying to do. And you think he's going to stop? Well, if he was going to stop and do a peace treaty, why is he objecting to security guarantees?
Right.
You're not going to attack him again. Why would you care if NATO guarantees him?
Yep.
And that was for me, it was a huge red flag as soon as he pushed back on it. It's like, well, if you're going to have a peace treaty, it doesn't matter what agreements they have. But that just shows me he's just pausing this. He's had horrendous casualties. His economy is in the tank. What they need to do is basically stop all his sales. The sanctions really aren't hitting as long as we allow countries like India and China to buy the oil and the fuel. We got to lean on those guys. We may not be able to lean on China as much, but we can certainly lean on India.
Yep, I agree.
And we need to really put the prod to him. I feel sorry for Zelensky. He's in a sovereign nation that didn't ask for any of this. The warning should have came in 2014 when they took Crimea, which, by the way, they're not even mentioning even giving that back.
No.
They're talking about Eastern Ukraine. It's like Crimea is already gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to be even part of the deal. And they're taking in 20% of another country, which happens to have a lot of mineral sources. And it's sad. I don't want to have our troops on the ground. I don't think it'll fly. It never will. And, if the Europeans want to take the Poles, the Hungarians, everybody on the border with basically the next to go with Russia, they figure it out. If they want to send troops, where they can call them peacekeepers or guardians, or whatever you want. If they want to send troops in, all the better, because after Ukraine, they're next anyways.
No kidding. What about air support from the United States?
The problem you're going to have is inevitably, at some point, our plane's going to get shot down. It's almost a guarantee.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You have our U.S. It's Gary Powers in 1960 all over again, parading him on TV. How do you get him back?
And and the heads of every Democrat and half the Republican Party would explode collectively.
I just don't think we can do it. I mean, well, first of all, we can't use air power. If we don't get a security guarantee, how's our air power going to get inserted anyways? In other words, if we can't do the Article 5, I think it's Article 5 of NATO.
It is.
If we can't do Article 5 and get the agreement on that, then how even insert ourselves into it? And I think that you're going to see the border states, which are a little more self-aware, Poland, Romania, Hungary, the ones that are next on the chopping block, even Finland, they get it. Because they're right. They've already been invaded. They've already been victimized by the Russians.
Yeah, Finland's on the border of Russia. They know how funky it is.
Exactly. So they know. And I would think they're going to be all on board. I'm glad the other countries are finally figuring it out. And, the Secretary General of NATO actually said, Trump's doing a good thing. He actually got the Europeans to wake up and increase their budget to 5%, which is only fair.
From 2%.
He actually came out and said, we've been shouldering the burden for years now, 50 years.
Yeah.
And we can't do it forever. We can't sustain it.
Did you hear the texter call in and say what a great job Biden did with Ukraine?
Oh, it's insane.
Clinically insane.
Yeah, what you saying don't with no backup.
Yeah.
And I think Trump's right. I think if Trump was president, I don't think he would have had an invasion of Ukraine.
Even Putin said that. Even Putin admitted that.
Putin blamed Biden.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, well, that's kind of weird. But at the same time, he's actually acknowledging the truth on the ground. Is Trump is comes. It's a sad case because here we are in the 21st century. When we think these world wars are a thing of the past, we've already had enough of them. And this is a very potential hot zone. It really is. It doesn't take much to trigger it. And especially when you have one of these guys, Putin, threatening nuclear war repeatedly.
Yeah.
He's someone using TAC nukes and all that. Well, then all bets are off.
No kidding.
And the sad part is we talked to the Ukrainians into giving up their nukes. We made a deal with them.
Craziest.
So they don't have any retaliation. If you nukes Kiev, what are you going to do?
Was that Clinton that gave up their nukes?
It was the fall of the Soviet Union was like 90. Yeah, it would have been because it would have been 89 to 91. Clinton came in 92. So yeah, it was probably under Clinton.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And, at the time, the idea was we were trying to get a hold of them. They had a bunch of, in fact, the Russians were having trouble tracking them. They had a bunch of these backpacks, battlefield nukes. We were trying to track them down. We were afraid terrorists were going to get them. So the whole idea at the time was just get them out of some commission, take them off the field. And Ukraine gave them up. They really, at the time, since they were obviously in a different position, they didn't need them.
Yeah.
We bribed them, essentially.
I'll leave you with this. Will Vladimir Putin sit down with President Zelensky in the same room?
I think for a photo op, I don't know if they can be done. If I was Zelensky, I'd figure out a way to smuggle a gun in. I'll put it that way. Because if Putin goes, the whole thing stops.
Well, I
His megalomania.
suggested when he got in the beast with Trump, we should have thrown him in the clapper. We throw the claps on him and throw him in the hoosgow.
Or find out a way to actually take his plane out when he was going home.
Yeah.
I always thought about that. I was hoping it was going to happen.
Yeah. Wouldn't that? I mean, that's the only way this thing stops.
He's the only way to keeping this. He's the only one keeping this running. You think the Russian generals got any independence? Oh no.
Yeah. They're sucking up to him.
Oh yeah. Well, they're afraid of him. He has no problems. Carrying out mandatory punishment for these guys, the firing squad.
Yep. You disappear. Always good to talk to you, Howard. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
All right, guy. Hey, you have a good weekend.
Thank you.
You good enough to do any golfing?
No, I am miserable right now. It's
that sucks.
Yeah, I haven't been in this much pain in a long time.
Well, okay. Look, I know what you're going to say. Did you get your cherry juice and other stuff yet?
Yeah, I've been trying everything, Howard.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, no, I'm going to a podiatrist sometime this week and just taking the shot.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to it.
That, though.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Feel better, dude.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Talk to you later.
Howard Marcus. Got to step aside for just a second. Come right back. Check the board. Get into the 5. You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN. We're streaming live. KernRadio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk to local super attorney Matt Clark about car shows and oil field explosions. And we'll have all the news, traffic, and weather you could possibly ask for. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
King Door Company continues to set the standard in the garage door industry, and I'm here to tell you a few of the reasons why. First off, King Door carries Clopay garage panels and LiftMaster openers, so you're guaranteed quality and reliability well beyond the reach of most garage door companies, and it just gets better from there. King Door has a fleet of fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and tools to handle any job quickly and efficiently, and those trucks are manned by the most knowledgeable technicians anywhere. They have all the technical expertise imaginable and the most up-to-the-minute training available. In fact, King Door is so committed to training that they have the King Door Academy, a full-size, state-of-the-art classroom right on the premises with all the latest teaching aids, including working garage doors to simulate any installation, repair, or technique. Your garage door is a very important part of the safety, security, and look of your home, so don't trust it to anyone but King Door Company. Call them today at 397-2744, stop by the showroom at 7450 District Boulevard, or check them out online at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, your company with the pride of a lion.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147, or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
According to the Department of Energy, power outages outages could increase 10,000% over the next few years. American families are left in the dark for hours, days, or longer. Extended outages like that aren't just inconvenient, they're deadly. That's why My Patriot Supply, America's most trusted preparedness company, created the Grid Doctor 3300, a solar-powered backup generator. It delivers 3,300 watts of power, enough to run almost anything in your home. It's portable, whisper quiet, and safe to use indoors. And right now, when you order a Grid Doctor 3300 at mypatriotsupply.com, you'll get a free expansion battery, which doubles your power capacity absolutely free. Get peace of mind before the next outage hits your home and save over $1,200. But this is a limited time offer. So to get your solar generator and free expansion battery, go to mypatriotsupply.com today. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Eight 842 KERN. Want to thank Howard Marcus for joining us as he does every Wednesday, not at this time, normally at 4 o'clock, but Mr. Keller could only make it at 4, and I figured that Howard would be a little more flexible than the CEO of a major hospital. In the meantime, what do you got on the board?
It makes me wonder what the hotel owner was getting in return for the free room. Hate to find out he was selling his daughter.
Selling his daughter?
Like they're saying that the dad was selling another one of the kids to the hotel owner for a free stay.
Something's funky. Something's funky. Because no hotel here allows people to stay for free for 2 months. What else you got?
Could the La Quinta be one of the local motels that have been purchased by the city in order to house street people? There are several in town.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we would know that. That would have been reported, I would hope. But somebody's got to look under this guy's fingernails. He's presumed innocent. I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm simply saying that it's peculiar that a gangbanger, a criminal with a record, has a relationship with a hotel owner that allows him to stay there for months at a time on the cuff, and that a murder took place. No one heard a thing, no witnesses, no nothing. I just think it's hinky as all get out. And there should at least be some sort of probe, some sort of investigation by the DA's office, or I'm assuming that's city. That might be county, by either Sheriff Youngblood or Chief Terry, one of the two, whatever jurisdiction it falls under. One more, and let's get to the 5.
This last one just says, one of your local TV stations reported that the family had been staying at the La Quinta for free for about 2 months because the motel manager felt sorry for the family and was trying to help them out. Do you really believe that?
No, I don't buy that for a minute. I don't buy that for a minute. Let me go by there tonight, give them a hard luck story, and see if I can stay there 2 nights for free, let alone 2 months. I don't buy that for a second. That's what I'm saying. There's got to be some sort of investigation. I don't know. We head into the final hour of the broadcast. How did Marvin Gaye Jr. die? I know you think you know, but you may not know. Or at least I believe I have some additional information for those familiar with the story, where his pastor father shot him in their Crenshaw area home, 1984. We'll talk about that in the 5. It's TRBS. Don't go anywhere.
AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Parents of young girls who died in last month's flooding in the Texas Hill Country were in Austin on Wednesday to testify about proposed flood safety legislation for camps and campgrounds. Speaking to Texas State Senators in a hearing, Michael McCown, a parent of a Camp Mystic flood victim, said the camp failed his child.
We trusted Camp Mystic with her precious life, but that trust was broken in the most devastating way. The camp had a heightened duty of care, and they failed to perform. That failure cost 25 campers and 2 young counselors their lives. No one had to die that day.
Wednesday's hearing was the first time parents of the victims spoke to the legislature publicly. Last week, they met in private with Governor Greg Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and House Speaker Dustin Burrows. High winds and damaging surf are being felt along North Carolina's Outer Banks this evening as Hurricane Aaron makes its way near the East Coast. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein says resources are ready for Hurricane Aaron.
We have already pre-positioned 3 swiftwater rescue teams and 200 National Guard troops to various locations on the coast, along with boats, high-clearance vehicles, and aircraft. We have on standby some Chinooks from Georgia ready to transport food and water if it becomes necessary.
Authorities are prohibiting people from swimming in beaches in New York City, Long Island, New Jersey, and Delaware today into tomorrow. President Trump has expanded his law enforcement crackdown in Washington, D.C., with top officials visiting National Guard troops at the city's main railroad station. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 16 points, the Nasdaq dropped 142, the S&P lower by 15. More at townhall.com.
Hi, this is Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. We make the amazing Solaire infrared gas grills that are built to last and will consistently deliver better than restaurant grilled food. The Solaire infrared burner heats up to 1,000 degrees in just 3 minutes, even in the dead of winter. The high heat locks in the juices and flavor and grills food faster. Learn more about these fantastic USA-made grills at BestHotGrill.com. Solaire, hot, fast grills at BestHotGrill.com.
Everybody is keeping an eye on the Fed and how an interest rate cut might affect gold prices. Gold has been hovering at around $3,400 an ounce for the last 2 months and is poised for dramatic growth with the next interest rate cut. If you have a qualified IRA or 401k, you could receive up to $10,000 in free gold and silver when you open your retirement account with Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000 now or visit AdvantageGold.com and get your free gold IRA guide. Consult with your financial and tax professionals before making investment decisions. Call 800-900-8000.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. The man accused in the shooting death of a 17-year-old boy near the Panorama Bluffs has pleaded not guilty. 19-year-old Sebastian Dominguez appeared in court Tuesday afternoon. He pleaded not guilty to the charge of first-degree murder and is being held without bail. Bakersfield police responded to the call at about 1 a.m. Sunday. The victim reportedly tried to de-escalate an argument between 2 women when he was shot. Dominguez is expected back in court on August 28th. A former Arvin High School teacher facing charges for having sex with an underage student has taken a plea deal. Michael Joseph Pera pleaded no contest to 2 out of 7 felony counts, including unlawful sexual intercourse. Sentencing will be on October 16th. The plea deal requires Pera to spend 180 days in jail, serve 2 years probation, pay restitution, and abide by a restraining order keeping him from the victim. A 34-year-old man has been arrested after a person was reported stabbed with serious injuries. According to KCSO, it happened just before 2 o'clock Sunday morning. Deputies were called to the 4200 block of Willow Trail. By the time they got there, the stabbing victim had been airlifted to Antelope Valley Hospital. 34-year-old Shane Fisher was identified as a suspect. He was arrested and booked into the Lerdo jail. He faces charges including attempted murder. A dog who was rescued from a chance of being euthanized will become a rescue dog himself. Loki was being held at Kern County Animal Services when he was 9 months old in time.
Although I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves here in the next couple minutes. It is his birthday, so.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Here with Kern County Search and Rescue. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this. Little bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Wednesday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. Still lots to do in the final hour. We'll talk a little bit about tonight's Dodger game. Dodgers game 3 of their series with the Colorado Rockies. Shohei Ohtani taking the bump tonight. And NFL executives are speculating that if Trey Hendrickson does not sign with the Cincinnati Bengals, they're having Micah Parsons-like problems getting him on the roster. But they're talking that there might be a trade with the Raiders. I would not give them a first-round pick.
No, I don't think anybody's going to. That's absurd. And they want to.
Well, that's what they're going to ask for. Certainly. They're going to ask for a first-round pick.
Well, they're asking for a first-rounder and a young defensive starter. So anybody from the last 2 drafts, that's a starter.
Yeah, that's too much.
It's not happening.
That's too much. Second rounder.
At most.
And we'll give you one of our D linemen. I don't know. But boy, how did he look good on the other side of Max Crosby. That would be hell. Those two converging on the pocket.
I would have thought you would have wanted Micah Parsons instead.
No, I think Trey Frederickson's better. I think Micah Parsons overrated, to be honest with you.
Really?
I really do.
Huh.
I don't think he had a spectacular season last year.
That's fair.
He's not a dominant guy. He's not a big guy. He's quick, but he can't do all the things that Trey Frederickson can do. Trey Frederickson can bull rush you.
Hendrickson.
What did I say? Frederickson. Yeah. He can bull rush you. He can do the Reggie Green. No, Reggie
White.
Reggie White, and just forearm you right back into the quarterback. Mike Parsons can't do that. I don't know. What kind of season did he have last year?
Who, Hendrickson?
Micah Parsons.
Parsons had that's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's not a perennial defensive player of the year candidate.
He's always in the conversation, but I think that just because it's the Dallas Cowboys, he just gets that kind of thing.
Yeah. So
he had 12 sacks last year, though.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That probably would have led the Raiders. I don't know how many Max had. Right around there, I'd bet.
14 the year before that.
That's not bad, actually. Not bad. There's a great story in today's LA Times regarding the death of Marvin Gaye. I'm going to read the lead and then just kind of summarize the story for you. By the time 44-year-old Marvin Gaye moved into the big, rambling house with his parents on South Gramercy Place, I know exactly where that is, down in the Crenshaw area. It's a really nice area, the Crenshaw area, where it was back in the 80s. His cocaine habit was severe and his paranoia was deep. Enemies were conspiring against him, he feared. He gave his father a .38 caliber revolver. I don't think a lot of people knew that. To protect the house, he said. He had come full circle from childhood to live with his mother, who adored him, and his disapproving father, who would end up killing him. And that was one of the fascinating parts of this story. The father never want to have anything to do with Marvin. And it's so amazing. There are so many superstars that overcome what I think is the biggest handicap in the world, and that is either not having a parent or having an absentee parent. We talked about Tina Louise.
Tina Zimmerman.
Ooh. Do you know who Tina Louise is?
Name escapes me.
She's Ginger on Gilligan's Island.
Ah.
Tina Bailey, my late sister, although her name was Bettina. But what was that? Where was
Tina
it?
Turner.
Tina Turner, thank you. Nice catch. We talked about Tina Turner and how her mother never loved her. Didn't want to have anything to do with her. And it's kind of ironic that in reading the story in the LA Times, I suggest you read it, latimes.com. And I'm not pimping the LA Times, but it's an interesting story about how his father initially told his mother that it wasn't his child and just didn't want to have anything to do with him and resented his success. And yet, throughout his life, Marvin Jr. was motivated, I guess, as most children who are scorned by a parent. He spent his whole life trying to win the approval of his father, and to no avail. To no avail. And when he moved in, he gave the father the gun, and the father told him, "It's not going to be any shenanigans in this house. I'm not putting up with it." And there really is a cultural black phrase. Cosby used it as comedy, but when my dad was growing up in the 40s, that generation meant it. They really did. And the phrase was, "I brought you in this world, I can take you out." And my grandfather's generation meant that. Now, I don't think they meant necessarily that I'm going to kill you, but I told you the story yesterday. How my father had an opportunity to participate in a tryout in Savannah, Georgia, about 45 minutes from Beaufort, South Carolina, instead of going to, at that time, USC, University of South Carolina, which is a whole nother story, how they denied him access. They didn't realize he was black, didn't have pictures on the licenses back in the late 50s. My dad got there and they told him there was a mix-up. Sorry, you weren't accepted. It was a mistake. And my dad came home, got all this from my uncle. And he didn't know what to do. He'd been accepted to Morehouse. My grandfather wanted him to go to Morehouse as opposed to going to USC and Columbia. And instead, my dad was going to go to Savannah to a tryout. And my uncle, his little brother, ratted him out. And my grandfather said, "If you go to that tryout, instead of going to the Greyhound station on Thursday and get on that bus for Atlanta, you're no longer, I don't want to have anything to do with you." And I think culturally, that's what they meant, that they could walk away from you if you didn't abide by what they meant. And Marvin Gaye's father said something similar to him. And the new twist on the murder is that, which I didn't know, the father never did jail time. Never did jail time. And the reason is because they examined his body, and because, as most of you know, and I should have started with this, there was a fight. The story alleged that the father, Marvin Sr., was given the business to the mother, and that Marvin stepped in, Marvin Jr., Marvin Sr. got a gun and shot him. But I never knew that until this morning when I read this LA Times article, that Marvin Jr. beat up Marvin Sr. pretty damn good. According to the LA Times, he had bruises all over his body. He had big black marks where they had said, and he alleged that Marvin had kicked him. And the prosecutors were like, "Yeah, there's punches don't make that kind of bruises on the side." And so he shot him. And according to the LA Times article, and I can't remember whether it was his brother or a close friend. Let me go to the paragraph here just a second. And there's a book about it called Divided Soul, The Life of Marvin Gaye by David Ritz. But according to one of either his friends or a brother, it was suicide by father. And I'll explain here once I found this. The father, after drunk, resented the loss of her attention, the wife. He kept a .38 revolver, a gift from his son, under the pillow. The fatal confrontation was on April 1st, 1984. The father had come to the son's bedroom and was berating his wife about a misplaced letter from an insurance company. The singer ordered him out of the room, then followed him in the hall and, quote, pushed the father around pretty good, police said. The father returned with the gun and shot his son twice, once in the shoulder, once in the heart. When news got out, some thought at first it must be a twisted April Fool's joke. Some, like his biographer Ritz, saw it as a culmination of Gaye's death, wish, and thought. So that's how he did it. Forest Lawn, 10,000 fans. In his account to a probation officer, toxicology report showed cocaine in the singer's system. A court-ordered brain scan revealed that the 71-year-old defendant had been suffering from a walnut-sized brain tumor, which defense attorneys were prepared to argue had affected his judgment. Plus, photos of the defendant showed that his body was covered with fresh bruises, suggesting that he had taken a severe beating from his son. Donna Brack, who prosecuted the case, recalled that one of the bruises on the side was the size of a melon. I thought that's not a punch, that has to be a kick. This buttressed the case for self-defense. I'm trying to get to the paragraph. Might have brought up a 13-year in prison. There's a paragraph in here. I'm going to get to it. Please stand by. Former prosecutor. She said, I should have highlighted this. I apologize. Here it is. Some in Gaye's family, like his brother Frankie and sister Jean, concluded that Gaye had orchestrated his own death. She said her father had made it clear that if Marvin hit him, he would kill him. By provoking his father, he had ended his own misery and had freed his mother, who was finally found the courage to leave her husband of 48 years. Ritz said that he thinks of it less as a crime than a tragedy, as an elaborately choreographed suicide that had the added effect of punishing the father. He thought that because his father had killed him, his father would go to hell, Ritz said. Hang on. In the memoir, Frankie Gaye describes rushing into his, listen to this. In his memoir, Frankie Gaye describes rushing into his brother's bedroom to cradle him as he died. I got what I wanted, the singer mumbled, by his brother's account, of course. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it. That's according to the brother. And, you know, a lot of people, we often see it with mostly police officers, where guys will get into a standoff and then kind of walk out with the gun, waving it around. Suicide by cop. The most famous occurred right on the 58. Do you guys remember that? I was just getting into television. It was like the mid-90s. And it was a woman from LA, wife of a cop. And it was a long standoff on the 58. She'd gotten out of a van or minivan, and she had the gun at her side, and the cops waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. And she finally lifted the gun, and Kern County Justice, you know what happened after that. And then Mike Trahi, who was the assistant news director at Channel 23 at the time, sent me down to Los Angeles to look under her fingernails. And I found out that she had done it before. That she had brought on a SWAT team, threatened to take her own life. I think, if I remember correctly, she even threatened to take the lives of her children, and that they had to call in her husband to talk her off the ledge. But I don't know. I just thought that was fascinating to find out that Marvin Gaye wasn't really murdered. At least according to his brother, he committed suicide, essentially.
Why come out with this now, though? Why not say it earlier?
I think this is just a re-examination. I don't think Frankie claimed that recently. I think he claimed that.
Okay.
I think this is just a re-examination, and I don't think people wanted to hear that.
No,
You know
I
what
don't think so either.
People didn't want to believe that he took his own life. And that's why the father never did time, along with the tumor and the beatings. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I thought I'd share it with you. Let's go ahead and take another break and come right back. I apologize if my performance today has been less than stellar. Had I not missed 3 days of work earlier this month or this last month, I probably wouldn't be here. But it's just such a pain in the ass to miss work. Everybody is affected by it. Chris is affected by it. JR is affected by it. And I figure if I'm going to be in pain, it's the same pain laying in my bed that it is sitting in this damn chair. So might as well just suck it up and get through it. Quick time out. You're listening to TRBS, News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180 KERM and streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and
I'm a run, Casey.
Thank you.
Thursday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. Continued drama surrounding will they or won't they? Will Ukraine and Russia meet in person? Plus, Buck.
Looking at the latest with the fight against crime in D.C., already some numbers showing the Trump approach is working. Democrats scrambling because are they really the pro-crime party? We'll talk about this on Clay and Buck.
live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Have you ever been to the Stockyard right next door to KC Steakhouse? It's a great way to either start or end your evening or even just have dinner in there. They have craft cocktails, live music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And Cassie has a beautiful banquet room for meetings, parties. I know Kathy Abernathy often uses it for election night parties where they watch debates or the polls come in, whatever. And of course, I don't have to tell you about KC Steakhouse. You guys voted them best steakhouse in the recent Bakersfield, California poll. And I always like to remind you that the menu is completely expanded, that if you go with a large group, as many of you do to celebrate birthdays or anniversaries, not everybody has to have red meat. Chef Daniel's done a wonderful job with the lobster mac and cheese, the different fish dishes, even some Italian dishes like the fettuccine Alfredo that's got me limping around Kern County. Where would you rather be than on F Street, KC Steakhouse?
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Oh no, Dad, I spilled juice on the carpet.
Don't worry, kiddo. We have stain-resistant carpet from Carpet Outlet Plus.
Dad, look, he dumped his water bowl all over the new floors.
Everything is fine. We have brand new waterproof floors from Carpet Outlet Plus. You can find everything you need for family-proof floor at Bakersfield's best flooring store. Now offering 1 year, no interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Please meet Paul Sheldon's client, Marilyn Bull.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Bull. I heard of Paul Sheldon through my husband. So when I retired, I decided I'm going to go to him too. And I'm very pleased. The experience with Paul Sheldon has been great. Every question you ask, he had an answer for. He was patient and explained everything to where you could understand it. So I'm glad I had him to go to, because otherwise I would be confused. I would recommend Paul Sheldon to anybody because it is so much easier to go there and have someone actually show you and explain to you what your options are. And when you leave there, if you still didn't quite understand, you can always call and even make an appointment with you and rediscuss the whole thing. I also have recommended it to my sister. Thank you, Paul Sheldon, for all your help, and I wouldn't know what to do without you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Eight four two 842 KERN. You got anything?
Yeah, I got a couple more. Social services used to do that years ago. Go by and check out houses and make sure everything's good. They stopped that. They don't have enough people, and they want to pay they don't want to pay anybody to do it.
That's why I would love to know what Murillo and Bermudez are making while they're paying the grunts, the people that actually go to the homes and check on the children and do the hard work, probably making 30, 35 grand a year. And the management level guys probably make 150, 175, maybe even two bills. Crazy. Crazy. That's why I say we talk a great game. We really do. Oh, it's all about the kids. It's all about the children. And then you find out that they haven't done a review of child welfare services in this county in almost 20 years, 19 years. 19 years. You would think when Murillo got in the job, whenever he did, and I'm assuming it wasn't 20 years ago, and he saw that it had been 5, 7, 10, 12, 15 years since there had been a review, that would have been one of the first things that he said. Let's examine ourselves. And I agree with Howard. I don't like this self-examination. How can you truly be critical? That girl deserved a chance. And that's really what government is supposed to be about. To do the things that we can't do, to keep us safe. And it's just an absolute travesty. Absolute travesty. What else you got?
What do you think Putin meant when he said that there would be no war if Trump were president? Did he mean that he would not have gone after Ukraine? Of course he would have still invaded. He just knows Trump would have looked the other way.
No, I think what he meant was in the period that he lined up 150,000 troops, Donald Trump would have done something radical, as he has want to do. Like, I don't know, bombing Iran. I think he would have given him a deadline. He would have said, get those troops off the Ukrainian border, or all hell will come down on you and Russia. And I think Putin would have given it second thoughts. I don't think they would have allowed the 150,000 troops to align on that border, because remember, it wasn't like they lined up the troops along the border on Monday and invaded on Tuesday. They were there for a while. Biden could have done so much more than he did. But you know what? You know why they didn't? Because they thought it was a lost cause. And he piecemealed all of the military aid, everything that Zelensky has, almost entirely, at one point, was not allowed by Joe Biden. And then a couple of months would go by. The Ukrainians would be clearly holding their own. And the Biden administration would be like, wow, maybe we should help them out a little more and a little more. Instead of just giving them an anvil and crushing the Red Army, we did it piecemeal. Little here, a little here, a little here. We've got a little left in the broadcast. Last half hour, I would stick around if I you. Think I'm going to make it.
News Talk 96.1 and AM.
If you want me to, I could plug in Keller or Howard again.
Please.
You want to do Keller? What do you want? Which one you want to do?
How long? Which one's longer?
Give me a sec. I'll find out.
No, do Keller. Do Keller. Do Keller.
You want it right here? Or you want to wait, kill some time, and then do it at the end?
I'll do like 5-10 minutes and then.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me time it out for you real quick. Make
All
sure
right.
how much time you need to eat up, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
The maps must be approved by Texas Republican-controlled Senate and Governor Greg Abbott before they become official. Hurricane Aaron is creating dangerous beach conditions along the U.S. East Coast. High winds and waves are expected in North Carolina by tonight. Aaron was a Category 2 hurricane.
Keller was just under 16. Howard is 18.
So do Keller.
Keller? Okay.
So how much? Where do I have to
So
get
you'll
to?
need to eat 5.5.
So get out at 41.
Roughly. I'll time you out. It'll be easy because I'll have it built in, so you won't even have to worry about
Okay, cool.
Local news update.
Thank
on
you. Thank you.
News
Thank
Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. A settlement has been reached in a lawsuit where a man was severely injured at an explosion in an oil well back in 2022. In 2023, Leonardo Andrade filed suit against the companies connected to the oil well operation after an explosion led to both legs and his pelvis being broken and major damage to his internal organs. Details of the settlement have not been released. Several people have been arrested on weapons charges in Rosamond. A little before noon on Tuesday, a burglary was reported at the Dollar General on Rosamond Boulevard. Suspects who reportedly stole laundry detergent were found at a home on Diamond Street. 3 men were arrested after guns, including AK-47s, were found. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. Fake sneakers, fake cosmetics, and even fake pills. Crooks are selling counterfeit versions of just about everything. Last year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products were sold in the U.S. Sure, it may seem like saving a few bucks on the things you want isn't a big deal, but counterfeits are usually made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you've paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals and may support child labor, drugs, and even gangs. Smells like big crime to me. So if you still think buying fake products is harmless, think again. And remember, if you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart, buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at McGruffPSA.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention
Hey y'all,
Council.
I'm Mia the Mosquito. West Nile. That was me and my girls. You leave water out, we move in, making millions of eggs. Bless your heart.
Stop mosquitoes before they bite. Visit kermosquito.com. No mosquitoes, no problems.
Thursday's Armstrong and Getty show, reporting is Elon Musk is going to throw hundreds of millions of dollars behind J.D. Vance to get him elected. We will discuss. And does it sometimes seem like your school is trying to come between you and your children? Why would they want to do that? Well, there's an answer, and it's pretty troubling. We'll have that and the news of the day on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
You still got
KERN.
Chris.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Eight 842-5376, 842-KERN. The Menendez brothers facing a parole hearing. Today's Wednesday, tomorrow, and Friday. I believe, let me double check my notes here. I believe Eric goes first, and then Lyle will go on Friday. But that's beside the point. Whatever they decide on the first brother will affect the second brother. And it still comes down to Gavin Newsom. If you remember, the parole board wanted to release Sirhan Sirhan, the man who murdered Robert F. Kennedy Sr. And Gavin stepped in and said no. One of the few smart things he's ever done in his whole damn career. And now that he wants to run for president, I'm not sure a presidential candidate can be successful all over the nation with the reputation of having let go two men who murdered their parents. Sure, it'd get you elected mayor of Los Angeles, get you elected king of Beverly Hills, but how does that play in Nebraska? How does that play in Pennsylvania? And let's get to the hearing itself. These guys have yet to truly admit what they did. They are still holding on to self-defense. That Mr. Menendez and Kitty were going to get off the couch from eating ice cream as they watched television, and that Mr. Menendez was going to go upstairs and kill him. Anybody listening to my voice believe that? But that's what they're holding on to. They insist it was self-defense. And let's remember how they lied throughout this thing, how they set up an alibi for themselves, how they destroyed their parents' body to make it look like a mafioso hit. That's why they use shotguns. Why would you use shotguns to destroy your family? Why not just use a simple pistol, one shot to the head, both of them, or two shots to the head? No. They intentionally ordered shotguns so they could blow the place up and make it look like a mafioso hit. These are despicable human beings. And I heard Scott talking about this morning that they've been perfect inmates. Just not true. Just not true. And some of their infractions have been recent. Sneaking in cell phones, not listening to the guards. These are all part of the equation that the parole board examines. Have you learned your lesson? And they haven't. They still, at the age of 50-something, and on the verge of perhaps getting released, because again, these infractions are recent. This whole movement to get them free has been going on for what, a year, 2 years since that Netflix documentary came out, and they're still screwing up. Entitlement never goes away, even after decades in prison. you still feel like your armpits don't stink and I clean that up. So hell no, they should not be released from prison. I think the parole board is going to allow it. And I think Gavin Newsom, this new Gavin Newsom that we've seen, wants to be tough on crime when he runs in 28. And he's going to say, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's the smart play if you're running. I'd rather run on, no, I didn't let the guys that killed their parents out of prison, than, yeah, I let them go. I don't know how that plays in swing states, but we'll see what happens Thursday and Friday. What else you got? Anything on the board before I get out of here?
Yeah, I got a couple here. Ralph, you actually think Putin went in front of the entire world and admitted that if Trump were in office, Don would have outmaneuvered him and prevented his geopolitical advances? That's completely absurd.
Read that again?
It says that, do you believe that Putin really went in front of the entire world and admitted that if Trump were in office, Donald would have outmaneuvered him and prevented his geopolitical advances?
Well, I don't think it's an outmaneuvering. I just think it is a stronger president than as opposed to the weaker president. He knew Biden wouldn't do anything. He wasn't so sure about Trump. Trump owns that crazy factor. Remember, there are a lot of people that said there's no way he's going to bomb Iran. No way in the world. A lot of people said he's not going to go after Baghdadi. No way in the world. That's one thing that I admire and like about Donald Trump. Ronald Reagan had the same factor, that fear that he was a crazy cowboy. And I believe that Ronald Reagan played into it. That whole open mic, we start bombing Russia in 5 minutes. Ronald Reagan was in Hollywood. He was an actor. If anybody knows about hot mics, he started in radio. Reagan did that on purpose, by accident, on purpose. Just to let you know, Gorbachev or Yeltsin, whoever at the time. Quick time out. Earlier in the show, we talked with Ken Keller. I think it's important enough for you to hear it again. We'll play that when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KER.
You get the bust out of promo, or you want to get out of here?
I can do it. You ready? Hello? Okay. 3, 2. It's been 19 years, 2 decades since there's been a review of child welfare services. I think that Mr. Murillo and Maria Bermudez should be summarily fired. Let's start all over again. Let's get somebody who's going to be eager, somebody who's going to get these caseworkers into these homes. Takes 10 minutes to examine a child. Genesis Mata was murdered essentially by Kern County officials, if you ask me. That was kind of harsh.
I can cut off the end of it, too. But
No.
leave it.
I'll stand by that. I don't care. What are you going to do? Sue me?
True.
What do we got tomorrow? Thursday? 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Thursday TRBS. Well, it's a Thursday. Executive Director, Current Tax, Michael Turnipseed will be here, along with our money man, Daniel Petrie, and we'll preview the San Diego Padre 3-game series down in San Diego. All that, me at 3, TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN. I'll see you at 3.
For hours, days, or longer. Extended outages like that aren't just inconvenient, they're deadly.
That's why My Patriot Supply, America's most trusted preparedness company, created the Grid Doctor 3300, a solar-powered backup generator. It delivers 3,300 watts of power, enough to run almost anything in your home. It's portable, whisper quiet, and safe to use indoors. And right now, when you order a Grid Doctor 3300 at mypatriotsupply.com, you'll get a free expansion battery, which doubles your power capacity.
I gotta go home, you guys.
Absolutely free. Get peace
I'm
of
lucky I
mind
made it
before
this
the next
far.
outage hits your
Appreciate you
home
tuning in.
and
I'll be
save
here
over
tomorrow for sure.
$1,200. But this is a limited time offer. So to get your solar generator and free expansion battery, go to mypatriotsupply.com today. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
Reporting live again from the Santa Margarita Ranch. We're receiving reports that this Christmas, you're invited to climb aboard the enchanting Pacific Coast Railroad's Jingle Bell Express for a one-of-a-kind